All right, YouTube. We are back here with the Tao Te Ching. Listen, I've been reading 4 chapters at a time. There are only 8 more to go, and as you can see, they're very short chapters, like poems. So we're gonna finish the rest of them tonight because I want to move on to some other texts, some other religious texts. All right, I'd like to say thank you to those who have subscribed to this channel. Thank you to those who have watched this segment here on the Tao Te Ching. Sure, for some it can be boring, just being read to. But nevertheless, let's get into it here. Chapter 74. If you do not fear death, then how can it intimidate you? If you aren't afraid of dying, there is nothing you cannot do. Those who harm others are like inexperienced boys trying to take the place of a great lumberjack. Trying to fill his shoes will only get them seriously hurt. Self-explanatory. Chapter 75. When people go hungry, the government's taxes are too high. When people become rebellious, the government has become too intrusive. When people begin to view death lightly, wealthy people have too much, which causes others to starve. Only those who do not cling to their life can save it. Okay. Basically not being attached to anything here. All right, let's move on. Chapter 76. The living are soft and yielding. The dead are rigid and stiff. Boy, we know some folk like that. Rigid and stiff. Not flexible. Living plants, here we are flexible and tender. The dead are brittle and dry. Those who are stiff and rigid are the disciples of death. Those who are soft and yielding are the disciples of life, obviously. Must be flexible in life. The rigid and stiff will be broken. The soft and yielding will overcome. Chapter 77. The Tao of heaven works in the world like the drawing of a bow. The top is bent downward. The bottom is bent up. The excess is taken from, and the deficient is given to. The Tao works to use the excess and gives to that which is depleted. The way of people is to take from the depleted and give to those who already have an excess, Who is able to give to the needy from their excess? Only someone who's following the way of the Tao. This is why the Master gives, expecting nothing in return. She does not dwell on her past accomplishments and does not glory in any praise. Chapter 78. Water is the softest and most yielding substance. Yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Everyone knows that the soft and yielding overcomes the rigid and hard, but few can put this knowledge into practice. Therefore the Master says, only he who is the lowest servant of the kingdom is worthy of becoming its ruler. He who is willing to tackle the most unpleasant tasks is the best ruler in the world. True sayings seem contradictory. I'm going to read that again because I got a little distracted. Water is the soft and most yielding substance. Yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Everyone knows that the soft and yielding overcomes the rigid and hard. But few can put this knowledge into practice. Therefore the Master says, only he who is the lowest servant of the kingdom is worthy of becoming its ruler. He who is willing to tackle the most unpleasant tasks is the best ruler in the world. True sayings seem contradictory. This kind of reminds me of this heart-enriching thing of the last Capricorn reading I did, Love, for October 2022. Check the playlist and listen to that reading. You'll see why I say it reminds me of that. Chapter 79. Difficulties remain even after solving a problem. How then can we consider that as good? Therefore the Master does what she knows is right and makes no demands of others. A virtuous person will do the right thing, and persons with no virtue will take advantage of others. The Tao does not choose sides. The good person receives from the Tao because she is on its side. She's on the Tao's side, nature, the rhythm of life. And, I thought this was last chapter. Okay, chapter 80. Small countries with few people are best. Give them all the things they want, and they will see that they do not need them. Teach them that death is a serious thing, and to be content to never leave their homes. Even though they have plenty of horses, wagons, and boats, they won't feel that they need to use them. Even if they have weapons and shields, they will keep them out of sight. Let people enjoy the simple technologies. Let them enjoy their food. Let them make their own clothes. Let them be content with their own homes and delight in the customs that they cherish. Although the next country is close enough that they can hear their roosters crowing and dogs barking, they are content to never visit each other all the days of their life. That's something, right? Simplistic living. What does the Tao say? Taoism say? Forget your learning. Put it into your troubles. Live simply. Just live. Just be. Chapter 81. And we find that theme. And, again, getting rid of desire. We find this theme consistent in the Eastern philosophies / religions. Chapter 81. True words do not sound beautiful. Damn sure don't. True words do not sound beautiful. Beautiful sounding words are not true. That goes with that Bible verse. Like in the end times, people basically they will not want to hear the truth. They will have, ears. What does it say? There's a sounding brass and a tinkling cymbal. In other words, they won't want to know the truth. They won't want to hear the truth. Those that speak those truths really don't have many followers, don't have many listeners. People hear it and then they run. It's not always in numbers. People always talk about these numbers. That's why, especially like on YouTube, that's one of the things I hear consistently with people attacking each other. That's why you don't have no views. That's why you don't have that many subscribers, etc., etc. I can't say for every single person that's got small channels, but often that is consistent throughout time. The truth is not something that the vast majority of people really want to hear. They like the excitement and the drama of the lies that they're told, sounding brass and tinkling cymbal. True words do not sound beautiful. Beautiful sounding words are not true. Wise men don't need to debate. Men who need to debate are not wise. Wise men are not scholars, and scholars are not wise. It doesn't matter how much you know. Scholar doesn't mean that you are wise, that you have wisdom. And we confuse that in the society. The more degrees, we think that that person, knows something. They've written books or they have knowledge. Scholarly does not mean that they have wisdom. Wise men are not scholars, and scholars are not wise. The master desires no possessions, since the things she does are for the people. She has more than she needs. The more she gives to others, the more she has for herself. And this is true for people who are givers. You know that people who are givers are usually never without food, clothes, shelter, whatever they need. Doesn't mean that it's glamorous, doesn't mean that it's expensive, but their needs are met. And sometimes you will find those who are consistent givers and give. No emotion attached to it necessarily, but are givers. Don't have to be, with a glad and cheerful heart necessarily, but are givers. Sometimes the things that they are giving back are glamorous and expensive and all of those things because they give. Like the master here. The master desires no possessions. She's constantly giving, serving. Since the things she does are for the people, she has more than she needs. The more she gives to others, the more she has for herself. The Tao of heaven nourishes by not forcing. The Tao of the wise person acts by not competing. Boom, we are done with the Tao Te Ching. Thank you all who went on this journey with me. The Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, the quote-unquote founder of Taoism. I have Taoism Part 1 and 2. You can find it in the Religious Studies series. Take a look at it. The Tao Te Ching is the second most interpreted book in the world. And of course, the first is the Bible. All right, we're going to move on with some other texts, some other religious texts here, and just some other books, period. You all be blessed. Peace.